Okay, everyone, we're going to try this again. I am here. Hopefully, sound is going to cooperate this time. Today, what I want to talk to you about is where should you take your stuff when you're ready to declutter? You might have decided, okay, I'm in, this sounds good, I'm willing to try it, but now what? I have these things and I don't know what to do with them. And I have been getting inundated with comments and questions and messages and people telling, can you please just tell me what to do with this stuff? Because I can't figure it out. So I thought we could just talk about it. I have lots of ideas. I have lots of options for you. And maybe one of these, or maybe more than one of these, will be something that works really well for you. Okay, so that is the topic of today's video, and hopefully you all have found me again, and hopefully the sound is cooperating. If you can let me know in the comments, can you hear me now? I'm like the Verizon commercial. Can you hear me? Let me know if the sound is good. Okay, so I want to read you a little paragraph from this. This is my book, Step by Step Decluttering. It is a book. Okay, we have it in ebook format, but we also sell it in print book format. Okay, and I just want to read you. Okay, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay, good. You can hear me. I just want to read you a couple sentences here because I think you'll be able to relate to this, and this is going to help you decide. Okay, so this is page 37, and it's called "What to Declutter First." A few years ago, and it's been 12 probably at least, I threw out a non-stick skillet that was terribly scratched up, right? You guys have any pots and pans that are so scratched, right? I had this pan, and it was a beautiful pan. It was gorgeous. I think it was actually like this light blue color, on the outside. It was a lovely pan, but it was super scratched up. It did not hold up, and I promise you, I did my best. And we did not use knives in the pan. We did everything, and it was no good. Okay, so I had this pan, it was all scratched. And so even though I hated to cook with it, everything was sticking to it. It was supposed to be nonstick. Everything was sticking. And I knew that scratched Teflon is a health hazard. Did you know that? If you're using scratch pans, it's not good for your body. My frugal self hesitated. I was like, yeah, but, right? Do I really need a new one? Like maybe I should try a little harder. Maybe it's not a big deal. Does that come up for you guys? Did I really need a new one? Isn't this wasteful? Right? That's kind of where we're going. But once I tossed it in the trash, I decided this is not staying. This is going in the trash. It was a huge relief, and I enjoyed my pots and pans so much more, right? So I went and bought a new one. Amazing, right? And I don't have that problem anymore. And this is the conundrum. This is the dilemma that people run into so often. It's like, but it's it still works. Right? The skillet still worked, right? It didn't have a hole in it. I could still use it to cook. I just didn't want to. And I had some pretty good reasons for not wanting to. But there was this dilemma, and so I decided, and that was kind of at the beginning of my decluttering journey, I decided it has to go. It doesn't matter that it costs a lot of money. It doesn't matter that it still cooks food. I don't care. It's got to go, right? And so I decided for that particular item that it was going in the trash. And, I had reasons for that, okay? And a lot of questions come up, and we may feel, really conflicted. But once we decide, and then we take action, then we can move on. And that's really important. Okay, so you don't want to be waffling. You don't want to be deciding on things like this. You just want to pick and go forward. Okay, because when you're saying that you're deciding, you're actually not deciding. You're really deciding to keep it, right? If you're not taking action. So you don't want to stay in that place. You just want to decide. The faster you can decide, the faster you can open up your power. Okay, so it's really important. And let me know, does this sound familiar to you all? Let me know. Scratches in pots and pans retain bacteria. Interesting. Yep, the chips and the coating can get in the food. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now, before we get to my list of options for you, I want to walk you through a little bit of a thought exercise. Okay, we're gonna do some thought work here. Y'all know I'm a life coach, right? So you're not going to get off easy. I'm not just going to give you the list and send you on your way. We're going to talk about this because if you can unlock what's going on inside your head, then it's so much easier to make decisions, right? And then you can figure out why you are stuck. Okay, so one of the things that I hear a lot, I've written this down, so I've got some notes here. One of the things that I hear a lot is people say, I'm worried about filling up the landfills. I don't want to fill up the landfills, or I want to, I want to take good care of the planet. Okay, sounds lovely, right? Like I don't want to fill up the landfills either, right? So I'm all in on that. But usually when people say that, they say it and it causes them to feel worried or maybe anxious, right? Do y'all feel anxious if you think, if I throw this out, I'm going to be filling up the landfills? Does that create some anxiety or some worry for you? Let me know in the comments. And so the next question is, when you're feeling worried or when you're feeling anxious, what do you do? Okay, because the actions that we take are based on how we are feeling and the thoughts that we are thinking. So important that you know this connection, okay? When I'm worried or when I'm afraid, especially because I'm worried about filling up the landfills, I am probably saving all kinds of things, right? I'm hanging on to things. Maybe I'm doing some research, right? I'm researching, thinking, okay, tell me, how bad is global warming? How full are the landfills? I'm looking these things up. I might be catastrophizing. I might be reading CNN and learning all about the terrible things, and how, our planet is dying a very quick death, right? I might be going on CNN or wherever to learn about that. Ironically, you might be shopping, right? When some people are nervous or worried, they go shopping, right? Ironic, but this is absolutely what happens out of nervousness, right? And they're probably not doing anything to actually help the planet, right? They're not, they're not doing all of those things on purpose that might help the planet or help the landfills, right? They're just stuck in the worry and fear. Now, you all might be telling me, oh no, that's not true. When I'm, I use reusable bags and I'm repurposing things and all that. Yes, but not when you're being worried. Okay, when you're doing all of those things, you're in a different place. You're doing it because you are motivated or maybe you're energized. So typically when you're worried, you're shutting down. Okay, I'm filling up the landfills. If I throw this away, that causes me to be worried. And then I basically shut down, or maybe, I even go shopping and make the problem worse, right? And so the result of being in this place is that I do nothing to help the landfills. And I'm probably contributing to the problem. Do you see how ironic this is? We think it's such an innocent thought. We think it's a lovely thought. I don't want to fill up the landfills. But if that thought causes you to feel worried, then if this is what happens for you, and you might have a little bit of a different model going on, but in general, like you're not solving the problem. You're not improving this problem at all. In fact, you might be making it worse, okay? So I'm just going to check in with you. Okay, Donald says, I don't worry about the landfills because most of what I get rid of is recycled one way or another. Amazing. Yes, love it. Carrie. Okay, awesome. Okay, I try and recycle everything I can. Yes, nice. Why do we get so stuck? Annette says, why do we get so stuck? We get stuck because of our thoughts. We get stuck because of the thoughts that we are thinking. Okay, so let me give you a different thought. Let me give you an alternative and you can see how this feels for you, okay? What if instead of thinking, I don't want to fill up the landfills, if I throw this out, it's going to fill up the landfills, right? You could think, taking care of myself is good for the planet and it's good for me, right? Now, again, we're talking specifically about decluttering right here, right? Or you could think, I'm doing my best for the planet, right? Now, when I think that thought, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling energized. I'm kind of excited to repurpose something or to recycle something or to sell something, right? I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling motivated, and when I feel motivated, now I'm probably going to find good homes for some of these things that I am letting go of. Maybe I find somebody else who needs the things that I don't need. Maybe I am repurposing. Maybe I'm shopping less. How about that? If I'm not worried, I have no reason to go, just stress shopping, binge shopping, right? I'm not going and doing all those things that I do when I'm worried. And so now I am supporting my value of taking care of the planet, right? Do you see how different that is? It's night and day, okay? And you can kind of summarize it in this way. If you have a thought that causes you to be afraid, you're not going to get a positive result. Okay, you're going to get a fearful result, right? So if you want to have a positive result, like I want to do my best for the planet, or I want to support the environment, or, I want to be a good steward of my things, you need to have a thought that is not based in fear. Okay, because if you're based in fear, you're going to do fearful things. But fearful things do not create positive outcomes. You see how that works? So you want to be really careful about the thoughts that you allow to kind of percolate in your brain. And it doesn't mean that your brain isn't going to give you these other thoughts. But when they come up, you can be like, oh, actually, we're not filling up the landfills here. I'm taking good care of myself and the planet by doing this, by doing this thing. Okay, it's so important. And it might sound like a little change, but it's actually night and day, because again, when you have control over your thoughts and when you're thinking them on purpose, now you're going to get a result that is so much more positive. Okay, so that's the difference there. And so I just want to kind of point that out so you can kind of think about that as you are deciding what to do with things. Okay. Okay. Now, let's see. Yes, fearful thoughts create fearful actions. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So here are some choices. And it really depends on what you are letting go of. Okay. And we had a list of 40 different things that I shared on Instagram, and I think maybe also on Facebook. And so, if you can't think of what to look for in your house to get rid of, just go look at that list of 40 things. You'll be able to scroll down on my Facebook page or my Instagram page, and you'll be able to find those lists. Okay, so it doesn't even matter. You start somewhere and get going. Okay, the first option, and I want you to consider this. This is an option. I want you to say no to it. I want you to consider it before you say no, is to throw something away. Okay, I'm putting this first because I think it's important that you realize it is an option, and you probably are going to have to throw some things away. Not everything can be repurposed. Not everything should be repurposed. And sometimes we don't even have the time. Our time is valuable. Our peace is valuable. And most of the time, people who hang on to things, they think, I should, right? I should whatever. I should sell this. I should find someone who needs it, right? And there's that tricky word should. That's really, saying I have an obligation. And now we feel obligated, and that's kind of like fearful. And so now our result is not going to be positive. And when we feel obligated to do something, then we typically don't want to do it, right? So what happens then? That stuff sits there for 5-10 years, right? So we think we should sell this thing, but yet we don't. And it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there. Okay, so I do want you to remember that it is an option to just throw something in the trash if that's what is going to work best for you. Okay, I believe that you all have enough on your plates. You're already overwhelmed, more or less, right? A lot of you are. And so sometimes throwing something away is the best thing to do. And I want you to do that and go in peace, okay? Because you're taking care of yourself when you do that. And if you can let things go, then in the future, you can be more intentional about what comes into your house. And I think that's the best way to take care of the planet, is taking care of yourself. Okay, so trash is number one on the list. Okay, but we have other options, right? And if you all have favorites, I'd love that if you could drop those in the comments as well. All right, we have other options. One of the favorite ways that we do things around here is we like to give things away. I love giving things away. It is so much fun. And there's a million ways that you can give stuff away. You can give it away on, at the curb. If you live on a street that gets some traffic and it's allowed, just put it out on the curb, put a sign on it. It may disappear in an hour. It could be gone. Okay, or you can find what's called buy nothing groups or free cycle groups, and these are usually online groups. Could be Facebook, could be probably not Instagram, but there's online groups, and you can join them, and then you can just say, I have this whatever to give away. Who wants it? Right? And you give stuff away that way. You can give stuff away to your local thrift store, right? And this is where you don't want to get picky. Unless you have the luxury of being picky. If you can be picky, you have all the time in the world, then be picky, but otherwise just let it go. Take it to the thrift store and turn around and walk away. Don't worry about what's going to happen to it, right? The thrift store can't sell everything. They may have different requirements, different parameters about what's available for them to sell. So you really have to let it go when you drop it off. Don't put restrictions on what you want them to do with your things, okay? Amazing way to let things go. You can just offer it up on your own personal, let's say, Facebook page or Instagram. Just tell your friends, hey, I've got this thing. Does anybody need this? Maybe friends of friends will come and get it. It's an amazing way to let things go. I love, love, love doing it. It's so much easier than selling things because you don't have to worry about, how much and, are they going to give me a hard time with the money? You just let it go and then you move on with your life. Okay, really, really helpful. There are other ways to get rid of things. If it's something like, let's say, an old TV, right? Or it's an old computer, maybe it doesn't even work anymore. Now, what do we do with stuff like that? There are lots and lots of electronics recycling programs. And it's going to depend on where you live and what's available. I do know Staples. I saw a sign recently at Staples that they have, I think it was free or maybe it was low cost. They have electronics recycling there. So you can take your old TV, you can take your old computer, take it to Staples, take it to Best Buy. I believe they have something similar. Sometimes it costs $20 to do this or $30, if we care, then maybe we're willing to pay that because then we know it's going to be recycled responsibly. Okay. Things like light bulbs. I know in particular, light bulbs can be recycled at Home Depot and also IKEA, like not the really big tube ones, but like the little fluorescent ones. And I believe the LEDs too. So they usually have a box somewhere near the front of the store. You can recycle your light bulbs. It's amazing. Okay. And beyond that, then now we get into specifics. So, there's a billion and one things you can recycle. And the best way to find the answer to this question is to Google. Okay. Google is your friend. And so don't wait for the answer to just descend upon you, but just do a little searching. Where can I recycle XYZ? Where can I donate XYZ? And you'll probably find a pretty good option. Okay. You can also get creative. So a lot of local places will accept donations. I know at one point, lots of doctors' offices and waiting rooms, they were accepting magazines. My mom always used to take her old, her magazines that she had read. She'd take them to a waiting room or other. I don't know if they're doing that anymore, so you might want to call ahead, but that's a fantastic way to get rid of those things. Like people love to have magazines when they're waiting. So, go drop off 20 pounds of magazines. Same thing with books. Library book sale is a great way to let go of books. Places like daycares and schools and theater groups, they are typically very happy to receive your hand-me-downs maybe for dress up or your craft supplies or, things like that. You just want to call ahead and see if they're interested. Okay. I think what's most important is that you make this as simple for yourself as possible. Okay. So if you're overwhelmed, again, you don't want to get yourself tied up with a lot of obligation and a lot of, restrictions because what's going to happen? Now we're even more overwhelmed. And when we're overwhelmed, we don't do anything. Okay. So we want to make our life easier, not harder. So be aware of that when you're deciding what to do with things. Okay. I'm going to catch up with your comments, but I also want to let you know, again, this is available, this book, and so many of you have this. I believe we've sold like 8,000 copies of this. This book is available. We will ship it to you, and we will ship it to you for free. Okay. Absolutely for free. All you need to do is pay the shipping and handling cost. We don't just ship them out for $0 because probably going to end up at the bottom of a pile of mail and you're not going to look at it. Right? So we do charge the shipping and handling. It covers the print costs and the shipping. And hopefully it makes it so that you value it a little bit more and you're willing to actually open it up and read it. Okay. This is the story of how I discovered decluttering, because I didn't always used to be more or less uncluttered. And back when my kids were little, we had a lot of stuff. And so I went through this process of deciding, oh my gosh, this is actually going to be so much easier. I'm going to be able to let go, just like with that skillet. I'm going to be able to let go of these things, and my life is going to get easier. And I'm going to have so much more time and energy for things that are so much more valuable to the world than if I'm just busy shuffling, boxes and piles and things like that. Okay, so it goes through that, but then it also will help you come up with a plan, right? It'll help you come up with your own plan. It will teach you how to do 10-minute sessions in decluttering. So you don't need all day. Everybody can find 10 minutes. So it'll walk you through doing like a 10 or a 20-minute decluttering session and a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so the link to order this is below this video, and you can do that. And if you take the upgrade, there is an upgrade to the digital version of this, and also to some bonus trainings. If you go for that upgrade, it's just $27. Then we will also invite you to a special call we're having in November. So that's a little tip to get a special deal on that bonus call. Plus, there's a whole bunch of extra training. Okay, so I want to make sure you know about that. If you already have step-by-step decluttering workshop, we will invite you to that call as well, and you're already in. Okay, and we will be emailing you all with details on that. All right, so what questions do you have? Let me know. All right, we got lots of ideas here in the comments. Fantastic. Old blankets and flat sheets to the veterinarians. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, animal shelters. Absolutely. I'm taking good care of the planet by doing. Yes, 100%. If I can take care of my space, then I can move forward and help outside my space. Right, Marcy? Right. When we don't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of anyone else. We can't. It's not possible. And sometimes that means making a hard choice to let something go. Right? That may be the cost of you being able and available to help, someone else in a bigger way. Right? So are you willing to pay that cost? I know I am. And if I wasn't, we wouldn't be here. Okay, it's really important. We cannot keep everything forever. We can't. We can, but then someone else is going to have to deal with it. Okay, so it's so important that you just notice and you just sit with that reality. Okay, because that is the truth. So you may keep it now, but sooner or later it's going to have to be taken out. Okay, and it's always nicer if you get to decide how that works. Right? Even if it's not your ideal, if it's in a way that you choose, you're going to feel so much better. All right? When we are in control of our decisions, of our choices, then we feel a million times better. If the choice is taken away from you, or you're not around to make the choice, it's so much harder. Okay? So I urge you to to not run away from this question, and to really dig in and decide what's going to work best for you, even if it's kind of hard at times. Okay? So that's the very long answer to the question, what do I do with all this stuff? What do I do with it? And so many of you have already figured this out for yourselves, and you're on a roll. So if that's you, keep going. You're amazing. Well done. And if you are just starting out, then we are so glad you're here. And we are here to help you and support you. And make sure you grab a copy of Step by Step Decluttering. Get that upgrade if you want to join the bonus call and if you want the extra training. And I will see you back here, same time, same place, next week. All right. Take care, everyone.